Tao 1. Xuefeng. May 13, 2008. Translation edited by Jiejing. Tao is the consciousness of the greatest creator, the driving force behind the movement and transformation of all things in the universe. It is the lifeblood of the universe, it is nature, and the synthesis of all laws. Tao possesses 8 characteristics: holographic order, eternal reliability, instantaneous sensitivity and adaptability, transcendence over time and space with no interior or exterior, spirituality, justice, non-obstruction, and illusory yet actual existence. The first characteristic of Tao, holographic order. The universe is holographic, everything is interconnected, and the universe is a living entity. The activity of an ant is related to an elephant drinking water. The fluttering of a butterfly's wings in Alaska is connected to a storm at the Cape of Good Hope. Today's cough is linked to an insect swallowed 10 years ago. The current back pain is related to a mouse killed 500 years ago. The suffering of a grandson today is connected to the mountain digging activities of ancestors 3,000 years ago. The rolling of a stone on the moon is linked to an earthquake somewhere on Earth. An explosion on a distant planet thousands of light years away is related to someone sneezing on Earth. Parents' words and actions are connected to the growth of their children. A mosquito bite on the toe is directly linked to getting angry. A lover's betrayal is related to the other's suicide. A statement made by Jesus or Buddha 2,000 years ago is linked to someone's behavior today. Darwin's theory of evolution is connected to people not believing in the greatest creator. A statement made by oneself 10 years ago is related to today's unexpected encounters. Everything is connected, no matter how distant. All events are related, no matter how long ago. Hearts resonate, whether in heaven or on earth. Spirits communicate, regardless of whether they belong to insects, plants, animals, humans, or ghosts. This is the holographic order. In the midst of complexity and constant change, everything falls into place with precision and order. Every word, action, movement, thought, and intention leaves an imprint in the universe. When the time is ripe, there will be consequences. Feeling helpless, unable to understand, unable to see the principles of good deeds leading to good outcomes and evil deeds leading to bad outcomes, one feels anxious and confused, not knowing the cause. Life seems uncertain. Everything appears random and inexplicable, because the characteristic of Tao is holographic order. Boundless and infinite, without tactics or fixed modes, no name or identity, no form or shadow, yet its power is immense, rewarding and punishing at all times. Invisible, intangible, and inaudible, yet it responds like a shadow that follows form. It can't be stolen, hidden, lifted, or moved. It's elusive and empty, yet it can cause earthquakes, tsunamis, landslides, ground splits, and thunderous roars. Where there's movement, it moves. Where there's stillness, it's still. Where there's life, lives. Where there's death, it dies. Yet where there's movement, it's still. Where there's stillness, it moves. Where there's life, it dies. Where there's death, it lives. It's profound and inscrutable. Hard to fathom its wonder, because the nature of Tao is holographic order. Tao that can be spoken of is not the eternal Tao. This is because Tao possesses the characteristic of holography. Holography here does not refer to chaos. Chaos is disordered, while holography is orderly. Tao forms an invisible divine net, which, as the saying goes, divine punishments, though slow, are always sure, with big meshes yet letting nothing slip through. All things, all phenomena, are within this divine net. They cannot escape it, hide from it, erase it, or extinguish it. Whether they are gods, Buddhas, demons, celestials, saints, ghosts, or monsters, they all operate within this divine net and cannot escape it, cannot escape from holography. As I expand, so does Tao. As I diminish, so does Tao. As I possess, so does Tao. As I lack, so does Tao. As I become complex, so does Tao. As I become simple, so does Tao. Holography is not chaos. Within holography, there are 36 8-diagram arrays, 36 dimensional spaces, 20 parallel worlds, and 64 basic factors. The permutations, combinations, and error corrections of these 64 basic factors intertwine to form astronomical numbers, which are difficult for human intelligence to understand and reach. Therefore, each person plays their own game, walks their own path. You are you. You can never become another person. Even if there is a 99.99% similarity, that 0.01% is enough to make a world of difference, as distant as 1,000 miles. Do you completely understand? If you do, it proves that you don't understand the holography of Tao. Only by transforming oneself into nothingness, within the void, faint, vague, dim, obscure, can one glimpse a bit of true insight. First, dissolve oneself into holography, then one can understand the characteristic of Tao is holographic. Laozi said, "Those who are skilled in the way of Tao are subtle, mysterious, profound, and penetrating, so deep that they cannot be understood." Why? Because Tao possesses the characteristic of holography. Knowing that Tao has the characteristic of holography and understanding the holographic characteristic of Tao hold profound and significant value. When we can face the collapse of Mount Tai without blinking an eye or skipping a beat, smile slightly with a knife at our throat, remain calm and composed in the face of death, stay unruffled in the face of family ruin and personal loss, and continue to be calm and relaxed even if the next second brings about earth-shattering changes, only then can we truly understand the holographic nature and principles of Tao. In reality, at this moment, one has already become a celestial being. The sky is intensely blue, death ceases to exist, beauty surrounds us, profound experiences abound, all paths are open, skills are effortlessly wielded, and there is nothing to do but enjoy leisure and play. Understanding the holographic characteristic of Tao and following its path leads to escaping the kingdom of necessity and entering the kingdom of freedom. Xuefeng Tao 2. Xuefeng Preaching Tao 2. Xuefeng, May 15, 2008. Translation edited by Jiejing. Tao is the consciousness of the greatest creator, the driving force behind the movement and transformation of all things in the universe. It is the lifeblood of the universe, it is nature, and the synthesis of all laws. Tao possesses 8 characteristics: holographic order, eternal reliability, instantaneous sensitivity and adaptability, transcendence over time and space with no interior or exterior, spirituality, justice, non-obstruction, and illusory yet actual existence. The second characteristic of Tao, eternal reliability. Tao is the synthesis of all laws. Within a certain time and space, these laws are immutable, enduring, and dependable. Every morning, the red sun rises from the east. The seasons change timely throughout the year. Seeds sown in suitable soil will inevitably sprout, grow, and eventually bloom and bear fruit. Rivers naturally flow downstream. It has been like this for thousands of years. Eggs are hatched in 21 days, yielding chicks. After giving birth, mother's milk will surely follow. Tides ebb and flow, flowers bloom and wither, flocks of geese migrate southward, the moon waxes and wanes. Everything follows a pattern. Everything can be trusted and relied upon. This is the characteristic of Tao, eternal reliability. The sum of the interior angles of a triangle is 180 degrees. Pi is always 3.1415926. Energy equals mass times the speed of light squared. Velocity multiplied by time equals distance traveled. To escape the solar system, an object must reach or exceed a velocity of 16.7 kilometers per second. Oxygen and iron embrace to become iron oxide. Halley's Comet appears once every 76 years. The moon continually orbits the Earth. It takes a little over 365 days for the Earth to orbit the Sun once. When full, hunger disappears. With the onset of puberty, there arises a sexual impulse. When a light is turned on, darkness is dispelled. Collision between positive and negative cloud layers can trigger thunder and lightning. Everything is so precise, orderly, and systematic. This is determined by the eternal reliability of Tao. Swallowing a bottle of sleeping pills will definitely result in never waking up again. Consuming croton seeds will surely cause diarrhea. Drinking a bowl of concentrated arsenic water will undoubtedly result in immediate death. Placing one's hand in a blazing fire will certainly result in burnt skin and flesh. Planting potatoes will definitely not yield sweet potatoes. It is unquestionable that those who are near vermilion get stained red. and those who are near ink get stained black. 1. Will surely not pick bananas from an apple tree. Constructing skyscrapers on quicksand is surely impossible. Dialing the signal 0086 will definitely connect you to China. Cutting a blade on the back of the hand will surely draw blood. Flying in synchronous orbit with the Earth's rotation will always be either morning or another time. Hitting oneself on the head with a stone will surely feel painful. Why can we be so sure? Because this is determined by the eternal reliability characteristic of Tao. Understanding this characteristic of Tao holds profound significance. Not only can it effectively and fully utilize laws to serve oneself, avoiding wastage of personal energy and mitigating risks, but more importantly, it enables recognition of the inevitability of change in all things. Consequently, one can confidently carry out current tasks without hesitation or doubt, steadfastly progressing towards their goals. For example, if we aim to reach the 1,000-year world, as long as our consciousness resonates with the beings of the 1,000-year world, and we adopt their way of life and existence, there is no doubt that we will surely arrive there. We will have no doubts about this. Why? Because it is determined by the eternal reliability of Tao. Pursuing the sun will certainly escape darkness. Aspire to the 1,000-year world and persistently practice and cultivate towards it. Surely, we will reach the 1,000-year world. Doubt arises from uncertainty, and uncertainty stems from not recognizing the eternal reliability characteristic of Tao. Once one acknowledges this aspect of Tao, it becomes as certain as knowing that placing fermented dough in a steamer for about 15 minutes will undoubtedly yield edible steamed buns. Good deeds bring good rewards, evil deeds bring evil consequences. This is the eternal characteristic of Tao. It is reliable. Those who commit numerous evil deeds will surely descend into hell, while those who fulfill virtuous deeds will inevitably become celestial beings or Buddhas and ascend to heaven. This is an iron rule, determined by the eternal reliability characteristic of Tao, not subject to the will of any individual. If we do good deeds, there's no need to anxiously await results. Why be in a rush? When the time comes, the results will naturally manifest. Small changes gradually emerge, while big changes happen in an instant. Through daily cultivation, progress may not be visible, but suddenly one day, one has already become a celestial being. A rope rubbing against a wooden board will cut into it, and water dripping onto a stone will wear it down. Channels form when water flows. The pedestals of ripe melons fall. These are enduring laws, reliable. What is there to doubt? There are no random events in the universe. Everything is the inevitable result of causes and conditions. There are no coincidences or accidents. Everything follows a predetermined pattern. This isn't something made up by Xuefeng. It is determined by the eternal reliability characteristic of Tao. The type of consciousness one possesses corresponds to the form of existence one embodies, and the manner of thinking determines one's way of life. This is neither superstition nor speculation, but rather a summary and reflection of the patterns life presents across different times and spaces. Having understood the eternal reliability characteristic of Tao, one should steadfastly journey and cultivate towards Celestial Islands continent. As long as persistence is maintained, one will undoubtedly reach Celestial Islands continent. This endeavor is perpetually reliable, and Tao does not deceive people. Xuefeng Tao 3. Xuefeng Preaching Tao 3. Xuefeng, May 17, 2008. Translation edited by Jiejing. Tao is the consciousness of the greatest creator, the driving force behind the movement and transformation of all things in the universe. It is the lifeblood of the universe, it is nature, and the synthesis of all laws. Tao possesses 8 characteristics: holographic order, eternal reliability, instantaneous sensitivity and adaptability, transcendence over time and space with no interior or exterior, justice, immediacy, and illusory yet actual existence. The third characteristic of Tao: instantaneous sensitivity and adaptability. Tao is the most subtle and sensitive sensor in the universe. It instantaneously senses, records, and responds to the slightest changes at any time, place, or thing, without the slightest delay or negligence. Whether it's the changes in a galaxy or the changes in a fundamental particle, whether it's actions taken by humans or the fleeting thoughts in their minds, Tao accurately senses, records, and responds without missing a single microsecond. You may deceive people and other living beings, but you cannot deceive Tao, for Tao resides within us. In every drop of our blood, in every cell, in every nerve pathway, in every breath, in every heartbeat, and in every thought, Tao is present, sensing, and responding. Therefore, the more honest a person is, the more they align with the characteristics of Tao. From this, we realize that any deception ultimately deceives not others or other beings, but oneself. Inner prayers, acts of repentance, wishes, and blessings all carry weight, value, and significance. Any disaster, whether it's a slip or a fall, a car accident, or an earthquake, can be prevented and avoided. As the ancient sages said, a single thought can move ghosts and gods. A single action can change heaven and earth. The difference between calamity and fortune, sorrow and joy, lies in the slightest difference in thought. Whether a camel will be crushed depends on the last straw, and which way the balance tips depends on the final gram. This is because Tao possesses the characteristic of instantaneous sensitivity. Tao is not dead, but alive. It possesses eternal reliability, yet it is not a rigid and unchanging machine. It is adaptable and can generate myriad phenomena. Wherever there is space, life, or changes, there are Tao's methods. On a macroscopic level, Tao's principles are constant, while on a microscopic level, they are constantly changing, arising and ceasing in each moment. On a macroscopic scale, there are stages of birth, abiding, decay, and emptiness, while on a microscopic scale, these stages can be reversed. For every person, every day, there are countless thoughts and ideas, and in response, Tao generates various transformations. If you remain unchanged, Tao remains unchanged. If you change, Tao changes accordingly. With your 10,000 changes, Tao produces 10,000 corresponding transformations. This is the instantaneous sensitivity and adaptability of Tao, always remaining unchanging amidst change, changing amidst the unchanging, eternally one yet endlessly unpredictable and mysterious. This is why it is said that the Tao that can be spoken is not the eternal Tao. Having understood Tao's characteristic of instantaneous sensitivity and adaptability, we know how to navigate our life's journey. We can skillfully pursue our desires without overstepping boundaries, thus safely and smoothly arriving at the life space we yearn for. For example, since Tao exhibits eternal reliability, our ideals, beliefs, and pursuits must also be steadfast and reliable. We cannot be fickle, changing our minds frequently, or we will never reach our ultimate ideals. However, because Tao also demonstrates instantaneous sensitivity and adaptability, we must be flexible on our journey through life. We cannot rigidly adhere to fixed rules or cling to dogma. We must be like eagles hunting rabbits. Wherever the rabbit runs, we must flap our wings accordingly. When we reach the riverbank, if there's no bridge, we must quickly find a boat to cross. If there's no boat, we must paddle ourselves, or if we cannot swim, we should practice swimming first. If necessary, we must find a piece of wood to help us cross the river. In short, we cannot simply wait passively. In times of danger, it is essential to pray and seek help from the greatest creator promptly because Tao possesses the characteristic of instantaneous sensitivity. Our inner thoughts and activities are instantly perceived by the greatest creator, who will then take corresponding protective measures in the nick of time. When faced with a dilemma, promptly share your best wishes with the greatest creator and then entrust your life to him, letting Tao manage your life. Then, go with the flow, act according to your nature, take advantage of opportunities that arise, and you will not go wrong. When facing decisions, it's crucial to remain calm and not hastily make choices. Avoid harboring a mentality of taking chances or attempting to deceive or lie. Look up 3 feet. You will find divinity. In reality, these divine entities are within us. A slight misstep can lead to drastic consequences. In the darkness, one may harbor ill intentions, but the eyes of the divine are as bright as lightning, and to avoid misfortune in the visible world, do not offend the invisible. The invisible refers to our inner world, which is unseen by others. If we commit wrongdoings in our inner world, there will be no good outcomes under the bright light of day. Don't assume that unethical actions from yesterday will go unpunished today and deceive yourself into believing you can get away with it. In reality, you are only deceiving yourself. When the time comes, you will deeply regret it because Tao possesses the characteristic of instantaneous sensitivity. It meticulously records all our thoughts and actions, accumulating them for change. When this accumulation reaches a saturation point, even the slightest change will trigger unforeseen events instantaneously. This is determined by Tao's holographic characteristic. In summary, Tao manages, supervises, coordinates, and responds to us at all times and in all places. This is the instantaneous sensitivity and adaptability of Tao. Xuefeng Tao 4. Xuefeng Preaching Tao 4. Xuefeng. May 18, 2008. Translation edited by Jiejing. Tao is the consciousness of the greatest creator, the driving force behind the movement and transformation of all things in the universe. It is the lifeblood of the universe, it is nature, and the synthesis of all laws. Tao possesses 8 characteristics: holographic order, eternal reliability, instantaneous sensitivity and adaptability, transcendence over time and space with no interior or exterior, spirituality, justice, non-obstruction, and illusory yet actual existence. The 4th characteristic of Tao, transcendence over time and space with no interior or exterior. The entire universe is an integrated whole, much like the human body. Tao permeates the universe, akin to how blood fills the human body. Tao possesses the characteristics of a hologram, making no distinction between inner and outer. In other words, it's impossible to discern what is internal from what is external, let alone what is up or down, what is large or small, what is male or female. This state requires deep immersion to fully experience, similar to how a drop of ink disperses in clear water. After a while, when the ink completely merges into the water, it becomes difficult to distinguish between inner and outer. Tao, akin to ink seamlessly blending into clear water, pervades all things, both material and non-material, permeating all aspects of time and space. Therefore, Tao possesses the characteristic of transcendence of inner and outer. When a stone is thrown into calm water, ripples extend in all directions from the point where the stone lands, but this takes time. If there are obstacles, the ripples may stop there. For instance, waves from Dongting Lake are unlikely to reach the Pacific Ocean. However, Tao is different. Stimulus from any location can almost instantaneously propagate to every material, time, and space in the universe without any hindrance. Any movement in the human world is immediately known in the heavenly realms, and any change in the heavenly realms immediately affects the human world. Just as the human brain, with its central nervous system, can immediately sense a prick on the toe, the universe also has a central system. According to the non-material world chapter, we know that there are 20 parallel worlds in the universe. These 20 parallel worlds are not isolated from each other but are connected by the 0 point, the realm of the greatest creator's residence. The 0 point serves as the central nervous system of the universe. The 20 parallel worlds intersect at the 0 point, and for the 0 point, any subtle changes in these 20 parallel worlds are perceived, much like how the brain perceives any subtle changes in the body's limbs, hair, senses, organs, and viscera. Therefore, for Tao, it transcends time and space without any constraints. Tao's transcendence is not only manifested in its ability to traverse space, but also time. For humans, we perceive the past, present, and future as distinct, but for Tao, these temporal states are unified and indistinguishable. The past is the present is the future, and the future is the past. They are all part of a unified whole. The past influences the present shapes the future, and in the same way, the present can also affect the past, and the future can influence the present. If a life form was once a fox, is now a human, and will be a celestial being in the future, then the fox, the human, and the celestial being are all manifestations of the same entity. We may perceive them differently, but Tao does not make such distinctions. In Strange Stories from a Chinese Studio, characters often enter the non-material world and engage in romantic relationships, marriage, and childbirth with foxes, bees, and other creatures. The parties involved cannot distinguish between themselves. There are no clear differences between foxes, humans, and bees. Only by stepping outside of that space can one discern who is a bee, who is a fox, and who is a human. Of course, some may argue that Strange Stories from a Chinese Studio is a collection of supernatural tales not to be believed, but that's their perspective, not mine. They've never entered these stories, so they deem them untrustworthy. However, once they enter and then leave, their perspective might change. For me, there is no clear distinction between mythology, fairy tales, supernatural stories, fiction, and reality, just as there is no clear distinction between the 36 8-diagram arrays. If you've been living within just one 8-diagram arrays and never entered any of the other 35 8-diagram arrays, of course, you will never know the existence of the 36 8-diagram arrays. Science fiction novels may seem like products of the author's imagination, but when we enter the space-time tunnel, we realize that they are not mere fantasies, but depictions of reality. It is said that in 1898, British writer Morgan Robertson wrote a novel titled Futility, which eerily predicted the sinking of the Titanic in 1912, 14 years later. Can we then dismiss the novel as merely the author's imagination? In 1865, at the age of 37, French science fiction writer Jules Verne published his science fiction masterpiece, From the Earth to the Moon, which described launching a manned projectile to the moon. The content, data, and details in the novel were almost identical to the data of the Apollo 11 moon landing spacecraft in 1969, 100 years later. Can we say Verne was just imagining things? Some may criticize Xuefeng's depictions of the 1,000-year world, the 10,000-year world, and the Elysium Celestial Islands continent as mere fantasy, but we cannot fault the critics for their lack of understanding of Tao's transcendence of time and space and the mysteries of thinking. However, believers are blessed. Grasping the concept of Tao's transcendence over time and space is truly extraordinary and incredibly marvelous. If one achieves enlightenment, they can freely roam the universe, instantly entering any life space to play. Moreover, one's thinking can expand limitlessly, and consciousness can transform from human to celestial being in the shortest possible time. The key here is not to differentiate between inner and outer, not to have a concept of time, but to realize that you are within Tao. Since Tao possesses the characteristic of transcending time and space, you also have the innate ability to transcend time and space. You can effortlessly travel from the human world directly to the 1,000-year world, or the 10,000-year world, or the celestial islands continent of the Elysium world. Xuefeng Preaching Tao, 5. Xuefeng, May 19, 2008. Translation edited by Jiejing. Tao is the consciousness of the greatest creator, the driving force behind the movement and transformation of all things in the universe. It is the lifeblood of the universe, it is nature, and the synthesis of all laws. Tao possesses 8 characteristics: holographic order, eternal reliability, instantaneous sensitivity and adaptability, transcendence over time and space with no interior or exterior, spirituality, justice, non-obstruction, and illusory yet actual existence. The 5th characteristic of Tao, spirituality. In terms of the eternal reliability of Tao, it represents the synthesis of all laws. It operates meticulously, impartially, and strictly according to procedures. It cannot be deceived. If you input apples, you won't get oranges in return. Input peace, and you won't get turmoil. Input heaven, and you won't get hell. It acts like a mirror, reflecting the true essence of things. Therefore, when we encounter setbacks, troubles, or disasters in reality, we should know that they are entirely caused by ourselves, brought about by the information we input. This is not a dereliction or error of Tao. When we see someone crying in the mirror, it's ourselves crying. The mirror accurately reflects the actual situation in front of it. It's unreasonable to blame the mirror when we cry. If we wish to see the person in the mirror smile, we ourselves must smile. If we don't smile, the reflection in the mirror will never smile. Similarly, if we want Tao to bring peace, smoothness, auspiciousness to our lives, and to have a happy, joyous, free, and blessed life, we must put ourselves in such a state. If our consciousness is in chaos and disorder, then everything we perceive will also appear chaotic and disordered. If we lack direction and goals, Tao will not show us direction and goals. If our hearts are filled with jealousy and hatred, then everything we see and hear will provoke jealousy and hatred in us. If we constantly blame others and have a great deal of anger, the arrangements made by Tao will only provoke us to become angry and resentful. If our inner world is not peaceful, the outer world will not be peaceful either. If there is no heaven in our consciousness, there will be no heaven in the universe. If our hearts do not envision and yearn for the scenes of the 1,000-year world, the 10,000-year world, the celestial islands continent of the Elysium world, we will never find or reach these worlds and continent. What we long for, what we pray for, is what we attract to ourselves. What we think and do is reflected in reality. Western spiritual masters say, reality is the projection of our own consciousness, and indeed it is so.
我们常常埋怨老天不公，说老天爷看着人间这么多苦难灾难不管，而情况不是这样的。实际情况是我们自己愿意制造苦难和灾难，是我们自己不愿意脱离苦难和灾难。
上天派老子来，我们听从老子的开示了吗？上天派佛陀释迦牟尼来，我们听从佛陀的教诲了吗？上天派耶稣来，我们听从耶稣的指导了吗？上天派雪峰来，我们听从雪峰的导游了吗？我们还埋怨什么？ We often complain that heaven is unfair, saying that the heavens watch over the world with so much suffering and disaster and do nothing. But the situation is not like that. In reality, it is we who are willing to create suffering and disaster, and it is we who are unwilling to break free from them. When heaven sent Laozi, did we heed his teachings? When heaven sent Buddha, did we follow his guidance? When heaven sent Jesus, did we listen to his instructions? When heaven sent Xuefeng, did we follow his guidance? What else do we have to complain about? Although Tao operates meticulously and impartially, it is sentient and trustworthy, and it has spirituality. When we rejoice, Tao rejoices. When we suffer, Tao suffers. When we are angry, Tao is angry. When we ask for something, Tao will provide it. It's worth collecting evidence of this. When a person's life is in extreme danger, if they are conscious and earnestly seek the aid of the greatest creator at that critical moment, the situation can immediately shift from danger to safety, or the risk and damage can be minimized. There are many examples of this throughout history, which proves what? It proves that Tao has spirituality. Without spirituality, there would be no resonance, and without resonance, the turning of danger into safety would be difficult to achieve. Jesus often taught us that as long as you keep knocking, the door of the kingdom of the greatest creator will open for you. As long as we have faith, we can instantly transplant the large tree beside us to another place. The spirituality of Tao also manifests in the form of continuous inspiration it provides us, which I refer to as revelations. The over 100 articles I have written, titled Revelations, aim to help everyone find and receive divine inspirations from the myriad phenomena of nature. Life at Genuine has always emphasized the need for everyone to awaken their spiritual perception. Once awakened, it's akin to a blind person regaining sight. You will perceive revelations everywhere, comprehend the wordless books, grasp the operational rules and ways of Tao, and ultimately attain Tao. You will be able to fly freely in the vast sky and leap freely in the boundless sea. Wherever you wish to go, you will go. Tao is constantly caring for us, assisting us, watching over us, educating us, and guiding us. Every few hundred years, it sends certain individuals to guide us. This is the spirituality of Tao. Tao responds to our inner prayers and desires at any moment, acting like a mirror that reflects our current reality, demonstrating the spirituality of Tao. If we consume something that upsets our stomach, Tao will cause us to experience the associated pain or discomfort, serving as a warning to us. Xuefeng Preaching Tao 6. Xuefeng. June 3, 2008. Translation edited by Jiejing. Tao is the consciousness of the greatest creator, the driving force behind the movement and transformation of all things in the universe. It is the lifeblood of the universe, it is nature, and the synthesis of all laws. Tao possesses 8 characteristics: holographic order, eternal reliability, instantaneous sensitivity and adaptability, transcendence over time and space with no interior or exterior, spirituality, justice, non-obstruction, and illusory yet actual existence. The sixth characteristic of the Tao, justice. If we look at things from a moment-to-moment perspective, it's almost impossible to discern the justice of Tao. Where does the justice of Tao manifest when a kind person encounters a car accident? Where does the justice of Tao manifest when a place experiences an earthquake, causing mass casualties and injuries? Where does the justice of Tao manifest when some opportunists exploit and oppress good people, living in wealth and comfort, while hardworking, kind, and sincere individuals struggle with hardship and despair? To see the justice of Tao, one must look at it from a macro perspective, from a holistic viewpoint, from the perspective of causality, from the long river of history, from the interplay of debts, from the future consequences, and from the principles of misfortune, that upon which happiness depends. Happiness, that underneath which misfortune lurks. And if you want to contract something, you must first expand it. If you want to weaken something, you must first strengthen it. If you want to abolish something, you must first promote it. If you want to seize something, you must first give to it. When someone suffers from a headache, there is always a reason behind it. There is absolutely no headache without a cause. The occurrence of any phenomenon or event always has its reasons. There are no occurrences without reasons. All illnesses, pains, and disasters have their origins. When we trace back to their roots, we may find that some originate not long ago, while others have origins from a very long time ago. We tend to forget events from a long time ago because we cannot find their roots. Due to this, we often misunderstand the justice of Tao and mistakenly conclude that life is unpredictable and that the occurrence of all phenomena and events is merely coincidental. In fact, the justice of Tao manifests not only on a macro and global scale but also on a micro and local level, from quarrels between mothers-in-law and daughters-in-law to palace intrigues, from slipping and falling outside to facing difficulties in tasks, from joys and sorrows, separations and reunions, to changes in weather and the waxing and waning of the moon, from personal fights to world wars. The justice of Tao is evident everywhere. The reason we often fail to perceive the justice of Tao is because we have not identified the root causes that lead to or trigger events. In hell, there isn't a single unjustly condemned spirit. Between the realms of yin and yang, there isn't a single unjustly condemned ghost. In the human world, there isn't a single person who is unjustly accused. As one sows, so shall one reap. Divine punishments, though slow, are always sure, with big meshes, yet letting nothing slip through. The two levels are in symmetry, and yin and yang are in balance. Everything is a result of our own actions. There's no point in blaming heaven, earth, society, or others. Let's explore the justice of Tao through a few examples. The inevitability of death for everyone is a significant aspect of the justice of Tao. The poor die, the wealthy die, the great die, the insignificant die, the powerful die, the powerless die, the beautiful die, the ugly die. How fair it is. If some people didn't die, would there be any way out for us? Has the sun not shone upon everyone? Regardless of who you are, the sun shines upon you. Is this not fair? The air circulates throughout the world, allowing every living being to breathe freely without charge. Is this not fair? Regardless of height, weight, wealth, or poverty, regardless of race, every person is given a pair of bright eyes. Is this not fair? Love attracts love, bringing joy to the heart. Everyone experiences this. How fair Tao is. Establishing heaven to reward those who revere the greatest creator, life, and nature, and follow the path of the greatest creator, and setting up hell to punish those who disregard the greatest creator, are arrogant and reckless, harm living beings, pollute rivers, lakes, seas, skies, and the earth, and speak nonsense about mysterious and spooky things. How just Tao is. The more you have, the more troubled you are. The less you have, the less troubled you are. How fair the program designed by Tao, allowing each person to sleep in only one bed at night, limiting each person to eating only a few bowls of rice at most, limiting each person's physical and mental capabilities, subjecting each person to the same risks when traveling by car or plane, granting each person free will, and allowing each person to freely choose their future lifestyle and path. How fair Tao is. If someone wears a diamond necklace, you say you also want to wear a diamond necklace, otherwise it's unfair. If someone is 6 feet tall, you say you also want to be 6 feet tall, otherwise it's unfair. If someone lives in a mansion, you say you also want to live in a mansion, otherwise it's unfair. If Hu Jintao becomes the president, you say you also want to be the president, otherwise it's unfair. Alright, if that's the case, when someone suffers, you should also suffer. When someone breaks their leg, you should also break your leg. When someone is burned to death, you should also burn yourself to death. When someone contracts AIDS, you should also inject yourself with the AIDS virus. Is this justice? Tao is just, there is no doubt about it. The sum of positive and negative energy in the universe is zero, meaning the universe's accounts are balanced. Ultimately, the accounts of every individual will also inevitably balance. Understanding this, we will be calm in our hearts, peaceful in our minds, clear-sighted, and more willing to give and less eager to take. The more we give, the less we seek, and the greater the ultimate reward will be. Don't limit your perspective to the gains and losses of yesterday and today. Look towards tomorrow and the day after. Don't confine your perspective to past lives and the present life. Look towards future lives and lives to come. In this way, no matter how tumultuous the waves of life may be, we can steer our life's ship steadily and safely towards the ideal harbor we dream of. Xuefeng Preaching Tao 7. Xuefeng, July 7, 2008. Translation edited by Jiejing. Tao is the consciousness of the greatest creator, the driving force behind the movement and transformation of all things in the universe. It is the lifeblood of the universe, it is nature, and the synthesis of all laws. Tao possesses 8 characteristics: holographic order, eternal reliability, instantaneous sensitivity and adaptability, transcendence over time and space with no interior or exterior, spirituality, justice, non-obstruction, and illusory yet actual existence. The 7th characteristic of the Tao, non-obstruction. Obstruction refers to blockage, being hindered, and difficult circulation, unable to transcend and stagnating. Non-obstruction refers to unimpeded passage, without hindrance, penetrating through everything. Regardless of how fast the movement of any substance is, it still has a speed. It takes time to travel from one point to another, even for the fastest light, which travels at 300,000 kilometers per second. It takes about 8 minutes for light to travel from the sun to the earth. However, the speed of Tao is 0. It takes 0 time to travel from one point to another, typically referred to as an instant. Any movement of matter, even wind, sound, or light, has limitations. When encountering specific obstacles, they either slow down or are completely blocked and stagnate. However, Tao is not like this. It can penetrate through any obstacle and instantly convey information to all spatial and temporal domains. This is the non-obstruction of Tao. For instance, if someone were to sit in a room sealed with a 10-meter thick iron plate, completely isolated from the outside world, they would still be able to sense external spiritual fluctuations, waves of consciousness, in an instant. The outside world would also be able to sense their changes in consciousness. They would still be able to see scenes from higher-level life spaces, such as the 1,000-year world, and lower-level life spaces, such as the plant world. In other words, even if they died in the isolated space, their soul would still be able to reach the corresponding space. A 10-meter thick iron plate cannot block the movement of consciousness. For a person or an object travels from China to the United States, whether by boat across the ocean or by plane through the clouds, they must rely on carrier media such as ships or airplanes. Otherwise, it would be difficult to cross the ocean or sky. Similarly, sending faxes or emails requires the use of carrier media such as electronic devices to transmit the information. Otherwise, the information cannot reach its destination. This is because during the process of material transmission, there are often blockages. However, Tao is not like this. Its operation is unobstructed. It penetrates through all time and space in an instant. For example, if one of our relatives lives tens of thousands of light years away on a distant planet or in the depths of the ocean, if something significant happens to us, that relative will sense it instantly. This is due to the non-obstruction of Tao. No substance or space can hinder the operation of Tao because the universe is a whole, exhibiting a holographic sensation. It's like pricking a small thorn on a toe. The whole body can sense it instantly. In this sense, the universe is like a vast organism, and Tao is its central nervous system. Its nerve endings extend to every tiny point. The ancient sages saying for its greatness, nothing lies outside it. For its smallness, nothing lies within it embodies this meaning. By understanding the characteristic of non-obstruction of Tao, we can place ourselves within the universe. We can merge ourselves into all time and space. We can transform into myriad forms, countless incarnations, and instantly reach any place in the universe. We can navigate through the 36-dimensional spaces and roam among the 20 parallel worlds. For example, as long as we become familiar with a little trick of consciousness, we will immediately enter life in the 1,000-year world. This trick is only explained to the members of Life Changyuan. Others can comprehend it through Changyuan corpus, which is not difficult at all. Buddha teaches that every person has Buddha nature, possessing all the characteristics. Indeed, every person has the potential to become a Buddha. Here, I substitute Buddha nature with Tao nature. Every person has Tao nature. We exist within Tao. Every person possesses all characteristics, meaning that anyone can become any kind of life they desire and can attain Tao. What we may not understand now is why we are unable to achieve this. There's also a little trick to this. For instance, while each of us has the potential ability to drive a car, to truly master driving, we need practice and a solid understanding of traffic rules. Otherwise, our potential ability remains untapped and we cannot drive. Tao possesses non-obstruction. Once we attain Tao, no time or space can hinder us. We can become celestial beings or Buddhas and live in the Elysium world. In this regard, the greatest creator treats all beings equally, opening the gates to heaven for every life. However, to truly enter heaven, certain conditions must be met, and certain principles must be understood. This relies on each person's enlightenment, merit, and opportunities. Xuefeng Preaching Tao, 8. Xuefeng, July 12, 2008. Translation edited by Jiejing. Tao is the consciousness of the greatest creator, the driving force behind the movement and transformation of all things in the universe. It is the lifeblood of the universe, it is nature, and the synthesis of all laws. Tao possesses 8 characteristics: holographic order, eternal reliability, instantaneous sensitivity and adaptability, transcendence over time and space with no interior or exterior, spirituality, justice, non-obstruction, and illusory yet actual existence. The 8th characteristic of Tao, illusory yet actual existence. This seems to be a paradox, both illusory and real, truly vague and indistinct. Although it is vague and indistinct, it has substance and sentiment, and its substance and sentiment are very real. It is said to be boundless, but it has clear edges and corners. It is said to have no tactics or forms, yet its methods are strict, and rewards and punishments are not delayed. It is said to be heartless and unrighteous, yet good and evil are clear, and its affection and righteousness are deep. It is said to be empty of everything, yet it changes in thousands of ways, and everything is prepared. This is the illusory yet actual existence of Tao. Quantum mechanics has revealed that the direction, manner, and speed of movement of elementary particles depend on the observer. In a study conducted at a university in the United States, a human rotation image was produced. Many people observed this image simultaneously, and some said the person in the image was turning left, while others said they were turning right. Some claimed the person in the image was consistently turning left, while others said they were consistently turning right. There were even some who said the person in the image was turning left at times and right at other times. What is the explanation for this phenomenon? In the material world, everything changes in accordance with the conscious activity of the observer. The movement and changes of matter are related to the observer. Our consciousness determines the form of existence and the way matter moves. There is a famous saying in literary theory, "It's not that life lacks beauty, but that we lack the eyes to discover it." Strictly speaking, whether one discovers beauty does not depend on the eyes but on the mind. Furthermore, The ability to discover beauty lies in the non-material structure of life. With a beautiful inner structure, everything is seen as beautiful. With an ugly inner structure, everything is seen as ugly. A Buddha sees everything as possessing Buddha nature. A demon sees everything as possessing demonic nature. A celestial being sees everything as naturally ordered and constant, while a person sees everything as being busy for profit. The core of life structure is consciousness. The type of consciousness determines the type of life structure. Japanese scientists once conducted an experiment on the crystallization of water molecules and found that their crystalline structure is influenced by the consciousness applied to them. The more perfect the consciousness applied, the more beautiful the crystalline state. The more chaotic the consciousness applied, the uglier the crystalline state. All remedies can become poison, and all poisons can become remedies. Whether something is a poison or a remedy depends on the consciousness of the individual using it. I have revealed in an article before that the nutritional value of food depends on the mindset of the eater. Those who feel grateful absorb more and better nutrients, while those who harbor dissatisfaction absorb fewer and lower quality nutrients. When the mind is restless, sunny days and gentle breezes seem to mock and ridicule oneself, while during a good mood, a sudden downpour appears as a magnificent symphony performed by nature. Take a look at your reflection in the mirror. If you're feeling troubled internally, your expression will likely be gloomy. If you're feeling joyful, your expression will be radiant with smiles. This also proves that one's external state is determined by their own consciousness. Optimists always have cheerful smiles, while pessimists always wear frowns. Where is heaven? It exists within one's consciousness. If heaven isn't present within one's consciousness, then one will never be able to reach it. And where is hell? It too exists within one's consciousness. If hell isn't present within one's consciousness, then one will never be able to arrive there. When Xuefeng descends to the human world, he acts as a guide, leading some individuals to the heavenly realms of the 1,000-year world, the 10,000-year world, and the celestial islands continent of the Elysium world. The mystery lies here. How does everyone feel? Was it a deception? This is determined by the illusory yet actual existence characteristic of Tao, and it cannot be fabricated. Is there truth or falsehood, good or evil, beauty or ugliness, right or wrong, big or small, many or few, up or down, near or far, closeness or distance? No. If they exist, it's because of one's own consciousness. In the eyes of lovers, even an ordinary person can seem as beautiful as she sure, while in the eyes of enemies, even a good person can appear demonic. Penglai and Taiji see Xuefeng as beautiful, while Xiaoxi and Sidong see him as ugly. Is Xuefeng truly beautiful or ugly? Isn't it determined by the observer's consciousness? Even if an elephant is beautiful, a mouse wouldn't want to marry it and start a family. Even if a fox is wise, chickens and ducks wouldn't consider it their master. Tao is elusive. We can sense its presence, but we cannot see it, much like how we cannot see the non-material structure of life. Yet, Tao exists. As humans, we often feel powerless and unable to act as we wish. This is due to the constraints of Tao. Strictly speaking, it's not that Tao restrains people, but rather that people haven't fully entered Tao. Without entering Tao, we can only drift along in the kingdom of necessity. However, once we enter Tao, we enter the kingdom of freedom, where we can create everything according to our consciousness and desires. Let's examine how Jehovah in the Bible manifested everything according to his will. Jehovah declared, "Let there be light," and light came into existence. Jehovah said, "Let the earth sprout vegetation, plants yielding seed, and fruit trees bearing fruit in which is their seed, each according to its kind, on the earth." And it was so. Whatever Jehovah's consciousness willed, it materialized, transforming the ethereal into the tangible. Now, let's explore the miraculous abilities of the super-celestial being named Yue on Xuefeng Island in the Celestial Islands continent of the Elysium world. As described in the Chanyuan Corpus universe, time and space within the 36-dimensional spaces. She can manipulate clouds with a mere breath and summon pavilions and towers with a wave of her hand. From the realm of intangible possibility, she can materialize endless creations, all through the power of her consciousness. Lifting a handful of sand, transforming them into thousands of green trees. It's both elusive and tangible. It's a bit mystical, isn't it? Those who attain Tao possess subtle and profound understanding, which is unfathomable and beyond human comprehension using ordinary knowledge and thinking. Actually, for those who understand its mysteries, it's not mysterious at all. But for those who don't comprehend its mysteries, it remains mysterious, even more so, and becomes entirely mythological. Let's understand it this way. The violin concerto Liang Shambua and Xuefeng Tai is well known to everyone. We might ask, was this melody present in the universe before? No. So why does it exist now? The answer, because a composer created it. How did the composer create it? The answer, by entering the scene with their consciousness and then expressing the scene through melody. Liang Shambua and Xuefeng Tai is the product of the composer's consciousness. As soon as the composer's consciousness is active, things come into being. When we listen to its enchanting melody, we still perceive a sense of the ethereal. However, when the vibration of the melody is combined with electronic instruments and a water spray system, we can observe water spouting from the nozzles in rhythm with the fluctuations of the music. The water dances gracefully along with the melody, and if accompanied by colors, it's like watching a fairy dance. In this way, the original ethereal becomes a tangible reality that the eyes can see and the ears can hear. Hand a blank sheet of paper to a painter, and in a short while, the paper will be adorned with magnificent landscapes and rivers. Where do these breathtaking landscapes and rivers originate from? They spring from the painter's consciousness. The ethereal becomes reality, but if you burn the painting, reality turns back into the ethereal. This is the characteristic of Tao. Consciousness, structure, and energy serve as the universal keys to unlocking the mysteries of the universe and attaining the status of deity, celestial beings, and super-celestial beings. The ethereal and the real have no boundaries. Everything depends on our own consciousness. Emptiness is form, form is emptiness. From nothingness, all things can emerge. Yet within all things, nothingness persists. Everything is ultimately empty. The key is to master the method of consciousness. My requirement for Chanyuan Celestials is to possess nothing yet own everything. The more you desire to possess, the more emptiness you experience. The more you maintain a state of emptiness, the more you come to possess. It seems quite contradictory, bewildering, and perplexing, doesn't it? Practicing how to be free from the mortal body during meditation will bring clarity to everything. 横向时间, horizontal time. Tao 1. May 24th, 2006. Translation edited by Yu. One of the 8 characteristics of time is its verticality and horizontality. The past, present, and future reflect the verticality of time. At a certain point on the vertical axis, time loses its future characteristic, which reflects the horizontality of time. An airliner from a certain airline disappeared from ground radar systems while flying along a coast, then miraculously reappeared. When the crew and passengers arrived on the ground, they found that their watches were all 8 minutes. Or was it 20 minutes? I can't remember. Slower than the airport time. There was a woodcutter who got lost while chopping wood in the mountains. While looking for his way, he saw 2 old men playing chess and stood by to watch for a while. When he found his way home, his hometown had undergone earth-shaking changes. His peers had long passed away, and only a few people remained in the generations of his grandchildren and great-grandchildren. People told him that decades had passed since he got lost chopping wood in the mountains. There is a story that the missing captain of the sunken luxury liner Titanic appeared on a small island, his appearance and physique identical to that of decades ago. There is also a story that an airplane that had disappeared decades ago landed at a certain airport. There is even a story that a couple, while driving fast on a highway in South America, suddenly both fainted. When they woke up, they found their car was driving on a highway 2,000 kilometers away in North America. The results of near-death studies show that some people really did die. Their electrocardiograms and electroencephalograms showed that they were dead. But a few hours or days later, these dead people came back to life, and the resurrected people were telling the strange stories they experienced after death. Hypnotists have a way to guide the consciousness of the hypnotized person into the horizontal space-time to visit the past years. Scientists believe that there is a wormhole in space-time. Going through the wormhole can advance into the future space-time. For example, you can go through the wormhole to see the grandeur of the 2008 Beijing Olympics in advance. The ancient saying, 1 year in heaven, 1,000 years on earth, is not unfounded. It must be the enlightenment of the celestial beings. From the time chapter, we already know that the speed of time depends on the state of motion of matter. 2 ripe peaches are picked from the tree at the same time. One peach is left in its natural state, and the other is put in the refrigerator. After 5 or 6 days, the peach in its natural state has rotted, while the peach in the refrigerator is still as good as new. We can say that the peach in the refrigerator has entered horizontal time. The examples above of the woodcutter who went into the mountains to chop wood and the captain of the Titanic who was still young decades later, while their peers in the world had aged and died, actually show that the woodcutter and the captain entered the horizontal spacetime like the peach put in the refrigerator. Many things that humans actually do, such as sperm banks and so on, are applications of the principle of horizontal time. Sperm dies in a few minutes, or even a few seconds, under normal conditions. But once scientists bring it into horizontal spacetime in an instant, it can survive for a long time and always maintain its vitality. Horizontal spacetime is not a cold world. It is a different spacetime system from the one we are in now. As long as we enter horizontal time at a certain point in time, we enter an eternal state. But after entering horizontal spacetime, we can live vigorously. We can sing and dance. We can talk about love. We can grow old. But once we return to the world from horizontal spacetime, we are still at the point when we first entered horizontal spacetime. Our appearance and physical abilities are still the same as they were in the past. Scientists, based on the theory of quantum mechanics, believe that parallel worlds exist, and not just 1 or 2 parallel worlds. In fact, the so-called parallel world is the domain of horizontal spacetime. I don't need to give you a detailed introduction to this. As long as you look at the 36 dimensions of space, you will understand. Now I am going to tell you a little secret about how to enter horizontal time in order to bring practical benefits to you. Nothing is impossible, only unthinkable. How to enter horizontal time. To get the whole body into horizontal time requires opportunity. If the opportunity is not there, it is impossible to enter, and there is no use in being anxious. Now I am giving you a method that can enter horizontal spacetime at any time, that is, the method of consciousness entry. Please don't underestimate the method of consciousness entry. People are consciousness. Consciousness is people. Without consciousness, people are not called people, they are called dead things. At least they are walking corpses. Once consciousness enters, it is actually you who enters. How to enter horizontal spacetime. At any point in vertical time, you can instantly enter the domain of horizontal spacetime. This point in time is horizontal time. Let's analyze it specifically. I have step-by-step led everyone's thinking towards the high-level life space. First, I talked about the land of idyllic beauty, then the Life-Channuan era, then the 1,000-year world, the 10,000-year world, and finally set the target on the celestial islands continent of the Elysium world. I have already drawn out the whole blueprint of life's journey to the high-level space for everyone. Now, as long as you are willing, you can let your consciousness enter any of the above horizontal space-time domains at any time. For instance, at this very moment, allow your consciousness to enter the land of idyllic beauty. Using the visualized thinking method that I've discussed among the 8 types of thinking, you can freely explore the realm of imagination. The more beautiful you imagine it, the better it becomes. The sky is high, allowing birds to fly freely. The sea is vast, where fish can leap at will. Celestial horses roam the sky, coming and going freely. Don't perceive this as unreal or illusory. Anything that brings you joy, freedom, and happiness, including imagination, is not illusory. It is reality that can be illusory. Who can claim that the sexual climax achieved through self-pleasure is illusory? Imagination alters the way the body moves and changes the antimatter structure of life. Sometimes, we see someone lost in thought or someone enjoying themselves alone. What are they doing? They are savoring beauty in their imagination. As they imagine, their facial expressions change, their psychology shifts, and the antimatter structure of their life also transforms. People who often enter horizontal time share a characteristic: they are generally healthy, happy, and content. Why are they relatively healthy? It's because at a certain point, they enter horizontal space-time, much like a peach that's placed in a refrigerator. The peach's content in the refrigerator. Over time, compared to the peaches outside the refrigerator, it appears healthy and youthful. The peaches outside may become diseased, bitten by insects, start to rot, and emit a foul smell, but the peach in the refrigerator doesn't get sick. It remains fresh and juicy. What kind of consciousness you have what kind of life existence form. You might think that the sun is not moving, the plant's not growing, and that your conscious activity has no impact on life. In the subtle changes, unconsciously, in the unpredictable, earth-shaking major changes are happening. As long as you enter horizontal space-time from time to time, you will be healthy and not get sick. You will always stay young. You will gradually adapt to the way of life in the high-level life space. You will form a tie with celestial beings, and finally become a celestial being and go to live in heaven. About horizontal time, I only talk about these to ignite everyone's thinking library. For the rest, you have to explore and comprehend on your own. The mystery has to be experienced and mastered by yourself. The duck knows first when the spring river is warm, and the willows along the river know when spring comes. 传道篇之二，量子力学的困惑。The chapter of Preaching Tao, Article 2, The Confusion of Quantum Mechanics. Xuefeng. September 1st, 2005. Translation edited by Yu. Humanity continues to struggle in despair. As long as people remain unaware of what happens after death, living, whether nobly or humbly, is essentially a struggle before death. Blindness and self-deception are common human traits. Regardless of our beliefs, if we have only a superficial understanding or fail to seek a deeper understanding, we are essentially engaging in blind faith. Christians who do not understand what the kingdom of the greatest creator is like, Buddhists who do not comprehend the state of being a Buddha, and scientists who do not grasp the essence of science are, in essence, anesthetizing themselves and others, engaging in self-deception. Quantum mechanics has given us a glimmer of hope, enabling us to organically link consciousness and matter. However, it has also brought greater confusion. Schrödinger, known as the father of the wave function, once expressed a heartfelt lament to Bohr. What I truly regret is that one day I got confused by quantum mechanics. This confusion has affected not only Schrödinger and Einstein, but the entire scientific community and humanity as a whole. What confusion has quantum mechanics brought to humanity, particularly to the scientific community? What is the fundamental composition of matter? What is the nature of the subatomic world? Is the world deterministic and inevitable, or random and accidental? This is another major confusion brought by quantum mechanics. Heisenberg's famous conclusion states, "Uncertainty is inherent in the subatomic world and cannot be eliminated by any means." Does the greatest creator manage the universe by rolling dice? The material world is composed of atoms, and the atomic world is composed of subatomic particles. If the subatomic world is uncertain, then the material world must also be uncertain. If so, does humanity have a bright future? And what is the value and meaning of our spiritual practice and cultivation? Heisenberg's uncertainty principle has greatly hindered our understanding. If there is no absolute knowledge, then Jesus' statement, "I am the way and the door to truth," becomes problematic. This door is also difficult to pinpoint. Since it is uncertain, where can we find such a door? Is there no door? Can a person appear simultaneously in multiple unrelated places? From a conventional perspective, this is impossible. However, quantum mechanics tells us this is possible for subatomic particles. Humans are collections of particles, so if subatomic particles can be in different places simultaneously, then humans can also exist in different places simultaneously, or in different spaces and times. Where is my other self or my other selves? This is confusing. Heavenly bodies have orbits, and things have trajectories. We can calculate the exact timing of solar and lunar eclipses. Sowing seeds in suitable soil yields harvests. Good begets good, evil begets evil. It's not that there is no retribution, it's just that the time has not yet come. When the time comes, retribution will surely occur. However, in the subatomic world described by quantum mechanics, specific events are not determined by causality. In other words, some effects have no causes, and some causes have no effects. This implies that life is a gamble, which is confusing. Observation creates reality is another perplexing theory from quantum mechanics. Quantum mechanics tells us that the behavior and properties of subatomic particles are related to the observer's position and method. This could mean that without human observation, it is like a cat running, but when observed by humans, it may become an owl flying. Isn't this strange? Quantum mechanics allows for multiple realities. Isn't this confusing? Since observation creates reality, the universe must have countless worlds that have not been observed by us. Can we prevent our parents from meeting and thus prevent our own birth? Quantum reality seems to have a mysterious link to the past, allowing for the deletion of the human past. Strictly speaking, although it seems the past has been deleted, humans still know their past and replicate their future. This confuses us because, without our parents, we can still be born on this earth. We can prevent our parents from meeting, but we cannot prevent our own birth. Reality is not objective is another major confusion brought by quantum mechanics. The notion that reality cannot exist independently of the observer is a significant finding of quantum mechanics, which is purely an idealistic viewpoint. But is this viewpoint wrong? Philosophers say, "I think, therefore I am," and Buddhism teaches, "All phenomena are created by the mind." What is the nature of this vast world? Do things exist because of my observation? If I do not observe them, do they cease to exist? If the objective is not real, and the real is not objective, is there any objective reality? What exactly is reality? Is subjectivity reality? The existence of twin protons is also a major confusion. Regardless of how far apart these twin brothers are, they have instant mutual telepathy, which seems to transcend space-time without speed. Or, their connection speed far exceeds the speed of light. What kind of speed is this? These 10 confusions of quantum mechanics can lead to even more confusions. My overall feeling is that quantum mechanics represents a significant breakthrough in human thought, promising a bright future for humanity. Science, philosophy, and religion can coexist harmoniously on the same boat. I am confident and proud to say that I have answers to these confusions. By raising these questions, I aim to encourage everyone to think broadly, abandon outdated beliefs, and let their minds soar freely. This way, I can help everyone understand themselves. For detailed information on quantum mechanics, please read or refer to relevant books. I won't introduce it further because I use holographic thinking, which often results in leaps of consciousness. Focusing too much on details might affect the overall beauty in terms of time and space. 传道篇之6, 宇宙统一场. The chapter of Preaching Tao, Article 6, The Unified Field of the Universe. Xuefeng, December 30th, 2005. Translation edited by Qinyu. The term universe encompasses all infinite space, year, and all infinite time, zhou. Thus, the universe is a composite of material and non-material components, constituted by infinite space and infinite time. The unified field of the universe refers to the laws that universally apply to all times and spaces, essentially universal laws that hold true everywhere. Establishing a unified field of the universe has been the dream and pursuit of scientists. They envision using a simple, clear formula to describe this unified field theory, a formula that could be called the ultimate formula applicable to all fields. It is said that Einstein spent 30 years of his later life attempting to find this formula, but in the end, he was left lamenting and empty-handed. Modern scientists, whether globally renowned or obscure, have all employed various methods in their quest to solve the problem of the unified field of the universe, hoping to achieve the glory of solving this problem, akin in significance to the Goldbach conjecture. The promising prospect is alluring, but it remains as elusive as a mirage, seemingly near, yet far. After reviewing the history and paths they have taken, I found that they have made a fundamental directional error. First, let us consider the scientists' perspectives. Their views are uniformly focused on the material world, completely ignoring the non-material world. It's like admiring a beautiful woman's smooth, tender skin and feeling the breath of love, while entirely overlooking the myriad charms and graces of her inner world. Thus, Scientists are not masters of love in the unified field of the universe, but are like jaded veterans lingering in the red light district. Scientists believe that there are four fundamental forces in the universe: magnetic force, gravitational force, strong nuclear force, and weak nuclear force. They think that if a formula or theory could seamlessly incorporate these four forces, a unified field of the universe could be established, allowing them to effortlessly enjoy the mysteries of the universe and marvel at its wonders. They are deeply intoxicated by their own fantasies and find it difficult to extricate themselves. Not to mention establishing a unified field of the universe. They are currently unable to unify even these four forces with a single formula. Even if they were one day to unify them, it would be akin to Tang Monk encountering a false thunder sound temple on his journey to the west, rather than the true thunder sound temple where the ancestral Buddha Tathagata resides. How many fundamental forces are there in the universe? Answer: there are 8: magnetic force, gravitational force, strong force, weak force, structural force, repulsive force, conscious force, and spiritual force. Here is a brief description of these 8 forces. Magnetic force, the interaction between charged particles. Gravitational force, the force of attraction between masses caused by the curvature of space-time due to mass and motion. Strong force, the force that binds quarks together in protons and neutrons and binds protons and neutrons together in atomic nuclei. Weak force, the force that acts on all matter particles but not on force-carrying particles. Structural force, the force generated by the structure of material and non-material components, with each structure having its unique energy absorption force. Repulsive force, the force that causes like charges or poles to repel each other. Conscious force, a force similar to the brain's ability to make the bladder and urethra start working when one wants to urinate. Spiritual force, the force that causes mutual perception between things. I have said that scientists cannot establish a unified field theory of the universe primarily because they cannot measure or calculate the latter four forces. Even though these four forces cannot be measured or calculated, we cannot deny or ignore their existence. Since they exist, and you cannot incorporate them into a single formula or theoretical system, you cannot establish a unified field of the universe. This is the fundamental reason why Einstein's efforts were in vain. At this point, many scientists might mock Xuefeng. Go ahead and mock. Laugh to your heart's content. Let's see who will laugh last. So, can the unified field of the universe not be established? No, it has already been established. This is the Tao of the greatest creator, also known as the holographic system, composed of the 3 elements of the universe: consciousness, structure, and energy. The universe is holographic, and the Tao of the greatest creator encompasses the 8 forces mentioned above, incorporating them wonderfully into a unified system. Scientists have focused their attention only on the material world, ignoring the non-material world. But the universe is composed of both material and non-material components, existing in infinite time and infinite space. How can a unified field of the universe be established if the non-material world is ignored? This is Xuefeng unified field theory of the universe. The remaining task is to work on the Tao. Why is this called the chapter of Preaching Tao? This should now be clear. 传道篇之9, 生命与能量. The chapter of Preaching Tao, Article 9, Life and Energy. Tao 1. June 5, 2006. Translation edited by Yu. The universe is an energy mass utilized by life, containing only 3 elements: structure, consciousness, and energy. Structure, consciousness, and energy are the 3 essential components of life. Without structure, there is no life. Without consciousness, there is no life. Without energy, there is no life. Energy adheres to structures. Without structure, energy is merely chaos. It is only when energy attaches to structure that it becomes holographic. Chaos is unordered, while holography is ordered. Unordered chaotic energy is powerless, whereas ordered holographic energy manifests power. Structures naturally absorb energy, and different structures absorb different types of energy. When you plant a seed, it begins to absorb energy and gradually grow strong. If it loses energy, life will perish. The process of life is essentially a competition for energy. Those who acquire more energy will thrive. Those who acquire less will have fragile and short-lived existence. Those who can continuously obtain a steady flow of energy will enjoy a perpetually enduring life. The universe is engaged in an ongoing energy competition. A person's life is a continuous struggle to gain energy, rising and falling through the great river of energy gain and loss. Energy is divided into yin energy and yang energy. Yang energy forms matter, while yin energy forms the soul. Males possess yang energy, and females possess yin energy. Females lack yang energy, and males lack yin energy. In psychology, the Oedipus complex and Electra complex essentially describe children's quest for energy from their parents. Generally, girls are drawn to their fathers, and boys are drawn to their mothers because girls need yang energy, and boys needing energy. As children grow up and the energy provided by their parents becomes insufficient, they begin to seek energy from the opposite sex. The ultimate purpose of marrying the opposite sex and seeking lovers is to acquire energy, even if people may not be consciously aware of this. Children rebelling against their parents implicitly aims to protect their own energy from depletion and to seek additional energy from their parents through rebellion. Conflicts between couples are essentially struggles for energy. People with bad tempers often lack energy. Their needs are unmet. Those who are depressed, emaciated, weak, lacking confidence, timid, talkative, eager for fame, complaining, dissatisfied, full of hatred, pretentious, and so on, are in such states due to insufficient energy. To acquire energy, people have learned to control others. Nations, ethnic groups, political parties, religions, organizations, and individuals all strive to control others. Once they control others, the energy of those controlled becomes theirs. A typical example is the mutual control between spouses. At the beginning of a relationship, mutual love leads both parties to release energy to each other, creating a pleasant and comfortable experience. However, as energy is consumed, they begin to control each other to absorb the other's energy. Arguments, fights, tantrums, ignoring each other, sulking, pretending to be ill, and even threats of death are tactics used to vie for the other's energy. Wives may prevent their husbands from interacting with other women, and husbands may prevent their wives from interacting with other men, aiming to prevent energy leakage. The more powerful a man is, the more he needs a woman's energy. The gentler a woman is, the more she needs a man's energy. When energy from one partner is insufficient, one may seek it from others. The universe is filled with energy, and there are countless ways to obtain it. Unfortunately, humanity has focused on plundering natural resources and controlling others, neglecting other avenues. All human conflicts and contradictions stem from the struggle for energy. Marital misfortune and sorrow arise from attempts to control each other's energy. For humans and nature, as well as for human interactions, to coexist peacefully, efforts to control one another must be abandoned. Nations, religions, political parties, and organizations must dissolve. For couples to achieve happiness, they must relinquish control and domination over each other. Life can be infinite, as long as you can elevate your frequency of thought and directly obtain a constant flow of energy from the universe. Do not rely on others for energy. As long as you can recognize beauty and possess selfless love, you can access an endless supply of energy. Learn to release energy. Only by releasing can you receive. The more you release,